concepts, elements of story.
Happy Saturday, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Big question for you. Train wrecks. How much do you like train wrecks? Anybody? Yeah. I mean, typically thinking, like, when I think about a train wreck, I think about a couple times in my life where my life was headed down a certain path, and then I got in a train wreck. Everything fell apart. Not an actual train wreck. It wasn't actually in a train wreck, but my life fell apart. And everything I had planned out for the next 20 years wasn't going to happen. Everything just went to pieces. And I didn't know what to do with myself. It was chaos. So I'll ask you a quick question. How do you look forward to chaos? What does chaos do to you? Do you like chaos? Do you not like chaos? Is it an opportunity, or is it a mess that you just hate? And I'll come back to that in a second. I did want to kind of take a chance to go back over some reviews with the Epic of Ryn for you guys. It's been a good ride. You know, I have to admit that I've been trying on my end with marketing and things like that, but it's just not easy. It's not something easy to get a grip onto when the market is so saturated with so many books. But one thing I'll say is that you guys have done an amazing job of helping to spread the book. And I've actually had some really good experiences talking to people about the book who talked to it from other people. They've even got some reviews that on Amazon and other places that I thought have been really cool. So just some really good review update for you guys. This book was hard to put down. Love the character of Ryn and his battles both outwardly and inwardly with the upheaval of his world. So 5 stars. This book is wonderfully written with an exceptional attention to detail. That will fully immerse you in a mystical world. Highly recommend and cannot wait to read more. That's cool. This one completely blew my mind. I'm just envisioning this mind being blown like... It managed to surpass my expectations, nothing like I expected. I absolutely planned to stick with this series as I enjoyed the world building, loved the intensity, and was intrigued by all the secondary characters too. And yes, the Epic of Ryn has a lot of secondary characters. I think me and my wife have talked about this before, we're both writers, and how the suggestion is you only have like half a dozen characters at most for your audience to remember. And I get that, but it's like when you're writing an epic fantasy, really, like that's kind of boring. Like 5 or 6 characters, and then everyone else is forgettable. It's like, screw that, you know. I love characters. I love world building, and so I could have 200 characters if I want. So I know it's tough for the reader to remember, and maybe it's less enjoyable for some people who have, you know, they can't get as immersed into the book. But at the same time, you know, I did give you, I try to help. I give you a map, I give you a glossary, I give you like, you know, I give you the cast of characters at the end of the book, and I try to make it easier, right? Anyway, moving on. So, another one. Mr. Burkhart is indeed one of the most gifted writers I have ever read. And I've read literally thousands of books over the course of my life, and I'm 62. His command and eloquence of the written word is quite simply astounding. Epic of Ryn is a story of battles, love, loyalty, and the age-old good versus evil that keeps you guessing till the last page, hoping the next book comes out soon. Well, it is out. Just so this particular reviewer knows, the Epic of Ryn 2 has been, the second one's been out for about a month now. So these are all reviews on the first one. The second one, I still don't have any reviews on it yet, but it's only been out a month, so you know the first one took a while to take off too. But those are awesome, and I really appreciate you guys doing that. I am working on number 3 right now. Editing is in process. I have a art in process. I am hoping to launch that sometime in the next couple months. That will be amazing. Then move right on to number 4 to finish the series, and that would be amazing. I think you guys would be really, really happy with how it goes, and I think it's going to be a really cool read for you. It will in many ways, it does get more challenging for you to read because it's going to ask deeper questions, and it's going to get into more moral discussion, right and wrong, good, evil, purpose of life. It hits that stuff hard, and towards the end of it, it hits it really hard. Sacrifice and goodness and all that stuff. So, but it's going to get richer, a lot richer too. And not that it's already not rich now. I mean, it's just enjoyable reading it, but it's going to get rich. Okay. So, that being said, just to go back to my original point, do you respond well to the train wreck? I can tell you that in my past, I don't think I've responded well to the train wreck. Which is really interesting because when I can remember any fantasy that we pick up and read, any series you watch on TV, on prime time or on Netflix or whatever, anything that you watch, anything you read, anything you envision, a video game, whatever, what happens in your favorite series or favorite movie or favorite video game or whatever, what happens? And there's always a train wreck, right? Something always falls apart, and something has to be put back together, or there's a bunch of chaos. Why is that? Well, this is an age-old story formula that is very popular. You basically, because human beings, this is my take, because human beings are beings of habit, or beings of routine. This is how we do things efficiently. This is how we help cure our survival. Getting locked into routine obviously makes things mundane and life forgetful. When life is forgetful, there's not much, obviously there's not much to remember, there's not much to live in. You don't feel like you've been alive, and that's unfortunate. And so that's why fantasy is pine for chaos. When we read a book, we read for some sense of chaos. When we watch a TV or movie, there's always some sense of chaos because it pulls us out of that routine and wakes us up. And we realize, and we have this moment of like, I'm living in the chaos. There's a mission. There's something to resolve. There's something that needs to be done. My inner warrior, my inner teacher has been sparked, and I'm going to go and I'm going to help. And there's a call to righteousness for those of us who believe in that, and then there's a call to arms for everyone involved. In fantasy, we love train wrecks, and I know why, and I've just spent some time covering why we like train wrecks in fantasy, but we just why don't we translate that to our regular lives? And I think that we need to take a look at how we respond to train wrecks in life. I mean, right now, the country is going through a very difficult economic situation that's been building for years, through a process of economics and policies and foreign policy and things like that has all led to where we are now. So it's a really tough spot, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any easier. How are you going to respond? Are you going to respond by stepping up your game and trying to be a hero and trying to help, heeding the call to be what's good in the world? Because I'll tell you this, when civilization collapses, just from my wisdom and understanding of ancient civilizations and civilizations for all history, right? And especially when we talk about civilization life cycles and everything like that, when civilization collapses, rule of law, civility, routine, all falls apart. When people lose routine, they go nuts. They don't know themselves. A lot of people resort to crime and violence. A lot of people, the moral sensibilities, and this is where you really find the character of a nation. If they are spiritually solid, even in chaos, they will have moral sensibilities. If they are not spiritually solid and they do not have purity in their hearts, when chaos comes, you find out real quick who does not have that spiritual grounding, because they resort to whatever they need to survive, and they will justify what they need to survive, and or justify what they need to get a leg up on others to ensure that help protect that survival, protect their assets. And you might see that. How are you going to respond? And I liken it. Obviously the Epic of Ryn starts in huge chaos. You have Ryn and the Crovens have just gone through, and the Novens too. They've gone through a 50-year war that wiped out pretty much both nations, except for some survivors. They were able to escape north with the help of some allies that you meet in the book. Ryn is devastated. Everything falls apart. He responds to a train wreck probably how any of us respond to a train wreck. It crushes him, and he has self-esteem issues. He has trouble getting back up on his feet. Should he even get back up on his feet? For the good of humanity, for the good of Nephilim, for the good of anybody, should he even try again? I mean, he let it fall apart beforehand. Why would he want to try again? But God, Teoti, calls him out and says he needs him. So how does he respond to the call? And Ryn does make the decision that he's going to put some of his doubt aside, and he's going to put some of his struggles aside, and the unknown aside, especially with his queen, which is one of the biggest unknowns. He's going to put that aside, and he's going to have faith, and he's going to follow. He's going to do what the Creator is telling him to do, because the Creator has a plan, and he's going to trust in it. And he goes. And obviously, number two, there's a bunch of things that happen that don't make a lot of still don't make a lot of sense. He never expected that he'd be in Baku fighting in a tournament. Like, why would he do that? That's not part of his mission. And yet you're going to see how that just is sort of a cornerstone for so many things that happen in igniting this movement that is going to feed the resistance against this evil. And for even more, for real transformation, which the book closes on a moment of intense transformation that you guys really have to read. I just really, if you haven't picked up the book and read it yet, please pick it up and read it. This is your chance to do that. But how do we respond to train wrecks? Ryn Responds. I love Ryn. He's a great hero. That's why I wrote him, because Ryn is a lot of things that I would love to be, but I haven't always been in my life. I would like to see myself now, obviously. That's the same. That's the MC for most all of our fantasies and things we get involved in. They're not perfect. They have some real world struggles, and we share those with them. So they reflect us at the same time, and faults. But at the same time, like, they handle it in a way that hopefully we want to handle it. And I'm still a huge fan of that hero, the classic hero that handles it the way that we want to handle it, not the way that is poorly handled. It still needs to be a role model. So I really appreciate you guys picking that up and reading that. If you hadn't had a chance, please do it now. And also please review and get the word out, because the fastest thing that spreads a book is word of mouth and reviews. And if you guys liked it, which, all these reviews indicate you guys really liked it. And I even have more reviews than these, just verbally and not online. So I recently had somebody funny, I'll end with this story. Had a friend whose daughter read it, the first one, loved it, was sent to an event with her parents with money in order to buy food at the event, and purposefully kept all that money aside and pocketed it so she could come back and buy the second one. I was like, that's awesome, because you liked it that much. So, those are great. I love those. Just keep working that out, and keep encouraging. If you really like it, encourage people to read it, but at the same time, like, the basic point of this video is I really want to get across the ideas. How do you respond to the train wreck? And if you're worried about survival, responding to a situation with panic and with moral obscurity actually is to the huge detriment of society, which affects your long-term survival. Honestly, we need each other as a community in order to survive, and only the plan, the moral firmness of the gospel has that plan in order to carry us through chaos and through disruption. So how do you respond to the train wreck? Anyway, I really love talking with you guys. I need to make more videos, I understand. I'm also very busy. Unfortunately, I can't do this full time, so I gotta work full time. But I'm so glad I got a chance to talk with you. Take that for what it is and reflect on it positively. And hopefully I have more chances to share some deeper stuff in the future. Thank you very much.